Hi guys, Ali back again. This time I'm sharing with you a fabric and lace vintage style journal or junk journal for the swap over on Junk Journal Junkies. This is to give a few people an idea of the sort of thing that the swap was about. The actual size of the journal is, well, the base of it is 6x4. But as you can see, you get laces when you layer them, they all overhang, and obviously the overall size of the cover is bigger than that, but that's fine. As I say, as long as your base cover is 6x4. What I've done here is I've got some cotton fabric and stamped on it, and then on the front I've embellished with layers of laces. This is a part of a big lace. I think it was probably a tray, an old vintage tray doily type thing, which I've cut a piece off because this edge is really beautiful. And then obviously I've used some muslin and cheesecloth and all sorts, just as I say, layered it up with this lovely image of a little girl, added a seam binding bow. The laces on the cover, where I have been able to, I've machine stitched them on, and then the final top layer has been glued on with a fabric glue, just so that obviously I've put this over the top of the stitching of my binding, so that's just been stuck on with a fabric glue. So as I say, that's the back, still more layered laces, and as you can see there's a button here and a button here, and that is how I've secured my seam binding closure. So this has been, as usual, everything inside has been tea dyed, and this was really heavily tea dyed because I wanted a real grungy feel inside to this journal, as you'll see when we go inside. So what I did was, when I stitched the seam binding to, and I did this by hand, to the lace, just for extra security, as I put my needle through, I just caught a button there, and then I thought that will stop that coming off, and I thought it was a nice little embellishment on there. And also this old covered one I thought was nice on the front of the cover anyway. Oh, and the other thing I haven't mentioned, I had a go at rusting some safety pins and that, so I've got one of those on the front there. So inside, what I've done, I've lined my journal with fabric and then inked over it to grunge it up a bit, because obviously this isn't an old fabric. It is actually more grungy than it looks as though it's going to show on the video. But I did say if people wanted to line it with paper, that's fine. As long as the actual outside of the cover is fabric and lace, then that's fine. And what I've done, I've actually added a pocket here made out of some muslin and then some lace layered, and that creates a pocket there. And then inside the pocket I've got one of Denise's old vintage library cards, and what I've done is I've decoupaged this lovely flower over the top, and then I've really grunged it up with lots of Tim Holt vintage photo ink. And then I've got some scraps of tea dyed paper that can obviously been used within the journal, and on one of them I've stamped "This book belongs to," so I'll put that there. And then for the first, oh, I forgot to mention, it is just a single signature journal for this swap, and it should be either 8 or 10 pieces of paper folded in half, so that will obviously give you 16 or 20 pages, and then obviously that's double-sided, makes it more. So this is some vellum or tracing paper that I've actually decoupaged onto, and then I've ripped the edge and inked it to make it quite grungy. And then on here I've done the same. I've ripped the edge of the paper, inked it, and I've used some stencils because I really like that effect from when I did my previous journal. Here I've got a layered up tuck pocket, and this is from a book that I was been previously using, and on the back it has got a lovely image as well, so I've tucked that in there, and then layered up with some muslin and some lace, all tea dyed, and then this little clock. This is another page, and because the paper I used on this piece was 6x6, obviously I've folded it just below 4, so I had this bit that wasn't quite a full page, so I've machine stitched this music paper to create a bigger page for that, and then I've just inked it and yet again stenciled over it, and by stenciling over it like this I just felt that it helped it make it a complete page again. So, and on this side we've got a pocket, just some torn scrapbooking paper that yet again has been tea dyed, and I've made a tag out of half of a time card that comes from Denise's shop, and on the back I've added some lined paper that was part of an element from something else, but obviously that gives you a journaling place there, and you can stick a picture on here, and then I've machined some tea dyed lace on the top, and then just a little piece of ephemera there. And then here we have a glassine bag that yet again has had a paper napkin decoupaged on the front of it, and I've put a bit of lace on the back, and in here we've got a little journaling card, which I've got a feeling is from Ephemera's Vintage Gardens, might be one of her freebies. So yeah, so that's tucked in there. This page I've layered up with some book paper and some offcuts of a digiprint that I had left, a little tag which I've ripped the corner off to make it look more grungy, and this little embellishment, yet again I've used scraps from previous projects. And then on here I had this little canvas tag which I've stamped on and inked up to make it grungy, and that's held in place by one of the garment pins from Denise's shop. And as you can see, I've cornered the top with my corner punch. Here I've done some more decoupage with the lovely flower napkin, and we've got a doily here, and I've just stuck a little butterfly that I've fussy cut for another project, and it was spare, so I've just stuck that in there. This I think is another freebie from Ephemera's Vintage Garden that I had in my collection, and I've just stuck it on with washi tape, but what I've done is I've actually glued the washi tape so it makes it nice and secure and hopefully shouldn't peel off as it gets used, and that just makes a flip out page. As you can see, yet again I've torn the edge of that page, made it shorter. I really like this effect. I got the idea from Sagita, so thank you Sagita. You've really inspired myself and obviously a lot of other journal makers, and I really like the way this has come out. In this another little glassine bag that had been decoupaged, there's a little tag that yet again was from a previous journal that I was making, a spare, so that's been put in there. Some music note paper or music paper that has been decoupaged on the top with that gorgeous napkin again, and then I've added some lace trim because, as you know, I like to have laces and things coming out the edge of my pages. And then this side I've added one of the tickets that Irene sent me. Hi Irene, still using your wonderful gift that you give me. This can be a bit of a tuck spot if you want, and then I've used one of my butterfly die cut or punches from the Martha Stewart punch that I usually use in my journals. Created another tuck spot. This is obviously from another piece that I had that I've printed somewhere along the line, and I've just added some lace along the bottom. And then we've got a little fold out here, and this is really grungy and that, and I thought that was really nice to add into that pocket. This is obviously some scrapbooking paper. Here we have one of the guest checks that's from Denise's shop, and this time yet again I've used the washi and glued it firmly into place. I've decoupaged onto the guest check, and then that creates a flip up, and then this bit also can fold back down again if you wish. And then here we have a tuck spot here, a double tuck using a doily, and yet again something that was left over from one of my previous projects. This side is the other side of the doily tuck spot, and here we have a really grungy pocket, and then I've embellished with some of the washi tape just to keep some sort of continuity through the journal. And then this is the other side obviously of the music paper, and I've stamped and added a couple of the little punched out butterflies on there. Here I've embellished the paper with a piece of a digital element that I've purchased in the past. I've got a feeling this is from Marion Smith, so I've just completely adhered that on, so you could write and obviously use the lines as well, so that makes that page still usable. And then of course I had to add some lace down the edge of a page for interest, and we've got some lined paper here, and use that stencil again. I think there's a Tim Holtz stencil. Yet again I think Irene sent that to me, so I've used that just to add some more grunginess. Here we've got a stamped floral design. The centre of the signature, see, even though it's not a huge journal with lots of pages, there's an awful lot going on within the pages that there are here. Made a big pocket, and got a couple of journaling cards. I think these are the freebies that come from Nectar's Creations. Sorry if I got that wrong, but I'm pretty sure that is who it is. And here we've got a tuck spot there as well. And obviously I've layered lace and this little embellishment. Just a little die cut butterfly, which can also act as a tuck spot here. And using one of those tickets, I've created a little tab at the top of that page and just stamped on that side, and just stuck a little fussy cut butterfly on that side. More grungy paper with a torn edge, and then this side we've got a corner tuck spot that flaps open, and I think that's Rita Donnelly. I do apologise because in the past I've been saying it was from someone else, but now I'm pretty certain it's Rita Donnelly that created this idea, so I'm really sorry Rita, but finally got round to giving you credit. Couple of little embellishments or journaling cards and things. Some more really grungy paper that I've torn. This is some really nice ledger paper, and I've just added some seam binding to the edge of that. Here we have a some lined paper, and that's a little fold out, so that gives you a bigger journaling area. A couple of little butterflies sewn on the edge of that. And then we've got a pocket here with just some scrapbooking paper that I thought would make a nice photo mat or journaling spot. We've got the other side of the music paper and a little tuck spot there with some seam binding. And here we've got a little paper pocket with some tissue paper that's been decoupaged over the top, some lace on the bottom, and inside we've got some tea-dye paper that creates a little journaling element, and then that tucks in there with the little butterfly sitting on the top like that. And yet again the page edge has been torn. Just more of the washi tape. It's the other side of the doily. Here I've just used a rusty safety pin and added a journaling spot this side, and then on this side Yet again, I think it is Nectar's Creations, and that's there. And then we've got the other side of the glassine bag and I've just layered up some fabric and just little embellishment, and just added a small index card that's been tea dyed with one of the little Martha Stewart butterflies on. And this at the back here is some more of the decoupage that was on the front. It just wrapped round, and so that's the rest of that. Some scrunched up or gathered seam binding that's been machined to the edge of that page. This is some obviously some scrapbooking paper. Here I've created a window pocket using a piece of an envelope, and that's got and yet again from the book, and that's got a little tab from out of lace. And then yet again I've done some stenciling and added a butterfly, and the back of the glassine paper or tracing paper that's been torn and inked, and then my handmade by. So that's my journal. I hope you like it. I hope it's given people lots of ideas, and anyone unsure, I hope you now have got the courage to join us on the swap. Thanks for watching. Bye.